What's a life-saving tip everyone should know? In a nuclear explosion, most of the damage and death is caused by the shockwave the blast creates, not the fireball, which has a comparatively small radius. One day you may find yourself outside or looking out a window to see an extremely bright flash, as bright as if you were staring straight at the sun. Do not attempt to locate the source of the flash. You have maybe 8 to 10 seconds to respond. If you're far enough away from the fireball, lay face down on the ground and put your thumbs in your ears and fingers over your eyes. Breathe through your teeth. Since you're laying face down, the shockwave will mostly pass over you. If you're standing up, it can cause your lungs, eardrums, and other organs to explode. Once the shockwave passes over you, you need to find shelter immediately. I said before that most death from the explosion is caused by the shockwave. Well, far more death is subsequently caused by nuclear fallout after the blast. Do not attempt to travel anywhere. Just get underground. If you're next to a complete stranger's house or a business, don't hesitate to go inside and hide out under as much concrete and steel as possible. You need to remain in this location for the next 48 hours. This is critical. Even if you survive the blast, if you attempt to go home and spend just 20 minutes outside traveling, you will more than likely die of radiation sickness. Radioactive material after a blast decays exponentially, and you will be safe to try and find your loved ones after 48 hours. If you don't wait this out, you definitely won't be alive to find them. When you're ready, you need to leave the city and get as far from the fallout as you can. If you're performing CPR on someone who's stopped breathing / heart has stopped, don't stop until EMTs take the body away. Don't stop after 2 minutes thinking, well, that didn't work. CPR typically won't cause the victim's heart to suddenly start and or for them to jerk awake. It's mostly to force blood circulation to prevent brain death. You're not forcing life into them, you're preserving a corpse to keep a "revivable" state. If a service dog comes up to you, follow them. Service dogs will only leave their owners as a last-ditch effort for help. When you're making a turn across oncoming traffic, keep your wheels pointing straight ahead until the opportunity comes for you to make the turn. If your wheels are facing into the turn and someone hits you from behind, they will push you into the oncoming traffic and dead you will go. If someone is choking, but they are coughing / talking, do not intervene. Let them cough it out. The ability to cough is a sign that air is able to get in and out, and that they only have a partial obstruction in their airway. If you try to intervene with the Heimlich or back blows, you could force it out, or you could dislodge the blockage and cause a full obstruction. Obviously, if they are not breathing or coughing, then you should definitely administer back blows. Just remember to check in between each one in case you partially dislodge the object. If you think you're being followed, turn right 4 times. Since you'll get to the same place, they shouldn't be following you anymore. If they do, you might be in trouble. Since it's a common warning that you shouldn't go home when you think someone is following you, the smartest is to go to a police station. If you are alone and start choking, you can use the back of a chair or sofa to perform the Heimlich maneuver on yourself. Source: had to do it to myself when I was about 15. Wear your seatbelt. Pick up the phone and text / call someone if you know they are going through a rough time. Pressure on the wound is more important than covering it. Ice can also stem blood flow. Car headrests can be used to break a window. Embassies / consulates have emergency numbers they answer 24 hours a day. Save, on your phone, the phone number of your nearest embassy / consulate when abroad. If you get in many kinds of trouble with the police, other legal issues, medical stuff, if you're a victim of a crime, lost your passport, etc., they can help you much more effectively than your family / friends back home can. If you keep finding weird post-it notes in your house, open a window and get a code to alarm. A person who is drowning doesn't look like people drowning on TV. When someone is drowning, they rarely cry out, can't wave their arms around, and will often just bob/sink at the surface for a very little while, often gasping, before submerging. Don't expect it to look like the movies when you're keeping an eye on swimmers. If you are lost in the desert, or a lot of places for that matter, the number one thing you can carry to increase your chances of being found is a small reflective mirror. Anytime a plane flies overhead you can reflect light towards them, and you greatly increase your chances of being found. This seriously is more important than carrying more water with you. Not that water doesn't help. It's just not realistic to carry that much water on your back. Furthermore, if you get stranded in the desert with a vehicle, do not leave your vehicle to find people. You are a lot harder to see than your vehicle, and your car can provide shelter. Your car has some good reflective mirrors to signal with, especially the rear view mirror. Finally, the universal sign for needing to be rescued is waving two arms up and down. If you can't use both of your arms, there is another universal way to signal for help that is more versatile. The way I can best describe it is 3 of anything quick signal, 3 gunshots, 3 whistle blows, 3 flashes of a flashlight, 3 flashes from a reflective mirror, etc. Just make sure they are spaced widely enough, at least 1 second, and that you spend a considerable time before making your next 3 signals. When caught in a stampede, as soon as you get knocked down your chances decrease significantly. If this is the case, however, and you can't get up immediately, assume a protective posture with your feet tucked up and your hands covering your head. Try to position your face in the direction the crowd is moving so you don't get kicked, and try to get back on your feet as soon as possible. If your car gets stuck on snow and your tire or tires just spin, you can take out your floor mats and stuff them under the wheel that spins when you press the gas. This will hopefully give the car enough traction to get itself rolling, so you can be on your way again. If you get stabbed, do everything in your power to keep the knife in. The knife is acting as a makeshift seal and it's the only thing keeping you from bleeding out. Keep it in and get to a hospital immediately. Plus, if it hurts like a bitch going in, it'll hurt like a bitch going out. If someone has a seizure around you, get them on their side. Start timing their seizure. Then protect their head as best you can. If you know they are epileptic and have emergency meds, give exactly how the bottle states. Never restrain. Never ever insert something in the mouth. Yes, they will likely bite their tongue. Yes, it'll probably bleed. No, we can't swallow our tongues. If this is the first seizure that they have ever had, call paramedics, and especially if the seizure lasts longer than 5 minutes, regardless if they have epilepsy or not, call paramedic. Inform the professionals of any meds/drugs the person has taken. If you gave emergency meds, stay with person till help arrives. Seizure/epilepsy affects millions of people and they can absolutely result in death sometimes, especially from choking due to poor help from bystanders. Please help us stay alive. Get a carbon monoxide detector with a ppm meter on it. Recently, I was experiencing intermittent bouts of nausea and lethargy, so I suspected co-poisoning despite my detectors being up to code. I bought a new one with a meter to check if there were trace amounts in my apartment. I discovered that my oven has a leak, so whenever I cook I get exposed to co ranging from 35 to 90 ppm. Which is pretty high. How come the detectors didn't go off? Turns out that they only beep when there's 50 ppm for 8 hours. Or 150 ppm for 5 to 10 minutes. I was just below the threshold while still getting smashed with carbon monoxide. The classic look both ways before crossing the street. Here's the kicker. If a car is coming, don't cross. Don't stay in a loveless marriage. If you ever get a tooth knocked out or pulled out, put it in milk. Depending on the roots they may be able to preserve the tooth. If you ever cut the quick on your dog's nails, keep a bar of soap on hand and rub the paw/nail area into the soap bar to stop the bleeding. Always keep a photo of important documents in your email or your phone. Phone is handiest. Save it to a specific document. Trust me, people lose papers often. Or don't have a copy of ID readily available, and if you ever had them stolen you have copies to help get the new ones. Shut down old acts, etc. and still have some things to use in the interim if absolutely necessary. Also, for your car, keep a photocopy of your ownership in the car, and not the actual ownership. Advice from an officer that I was once given. If a head injury causes loss of consciousness, even if it's a couple seconds, call an ambulance. That's a sign of concussion, and could be fatal. Think of Bob Saget. Heart attack symptoms can be much different for women than they are for men. The traditional chest and left arm pain may not apply. Edit to abs symptoms. You're more likely to feel pain in your neck, back, or jaw. Sudden severe nausea. An uncomfortably full feeling, or a feeling of intense pressure in your chest. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.